Remember when Urkel had an evil puppet? Let's go back.
Tamagotchi,
Of Y2K.
Welcome back to another spooky TGIF in Spooktober 1996. 6 days until Halloween, ABC had another Halloween lineup for us. At 8 p.m. was Family Matters, Boy Meets World at 8:30, Sabrina at 9, and bookending the lineup, Clueless at 9:30. I was excited to dive back into 4 new Halloween-themed episodes on TGIF, but as it turns out, only Family Matters and Sabrina were Halloween-themed. We will watch all 4 shows, but just a heads up, Boy Meets World and Clueless are just regular episodes. However, I just couldn't pass up what is considered a classic Family Matters Halloween episode though. In fact, it may be one of the best sitcom Halloween episodes of all time. Without further ado, join me as we travel back to October 25th, 1996 for some nostalgic, spooktacular fun.
I'm so excited about this Halloween bash, my magic's a little off tonight.
The episode begins with Urkel explaining that tonight's episode of Family Matters is a bit scary, just in case young kids are watching, or me. The show opens with Urkel bringing something down the stairs covered in a sheet.
Feast your eyes on this.
Hell no, to the no, 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 hell to the no.
Urkel decides to show off his ventriloquist skills, which are not great.
My mom doesn't know anything.
Later on, Urkel is laying in bed and talks to Eddie about how he wishes he was a better ventriloquist. Eddie leaves and Urkel makes a wish, wishing that his dummy could talk before rolling over and going to sleep. Lightning hits the doll through the window and the dummy comes to life. Classic Frankenstein monster. Urkel rolls back over in bed to see that the dummy is gone, but I'm sure he just misplaced it or something, or oh hell no! Urkel rushes downstairs to tell Carl, Harriet, and Grandma Winslow that the dummy's alive, but they don't believe him. Then the dummy starts doing the Michigan J. Frog routine where he won't move or speak in front of anyone else except for Urkel. The family thinks he's delusional and needs to lie down. Urkel places the dummy on the couch and it begins to speak again. Now I need everyone watching this to prepare themselves for this next scene, because the dummy gets up and walks and it's some of the creepiest shit I've ever seen.
My name is Stephen Q. Urkel. My IQ is 196. I like cheese, I like poker, and I'm vertically safe.
Urkel tries to keep his door shut by taping it with scotch tape, but the dummy climbs through the window. Then we get a moment of comedy when the dummy decides to do a little dance, but it just makes it even creepier. The doll confesses that he doesn't like the Winslow family, and he says he needs to get rid of them before adopting his new name of...
From now on, you can just call me Steve-O.
Get it? Because his name is Steve, and this one's evil? I love good wordplay, and don't worry, there's more coming. Richie and this kid go trick-or-treating as Dennis Rodman and Michael Jordan. I assume he's just Richie's friend? I do recognize him though as Eddie from That's So Raven. Urkel says that he locks Stevel upstairs in the trunk and tells Carl he thinks he's Satan's sock puppet. But uh-oh, no trunk can hold my boy Stevel. His first victim is Eddie. Stevel pops out of the chimney and calls Eddie over to get his attention.
I'm trapped in the chimney.
Santa?
Eddie gets pulled up into the chimney. Richie and his friend are then seen pedaling away from Stevel, who's trying to run them over with his car. How are his little legs reaching the pedals though? Back at home, Urkel finds out that Stevel has escaped. He pulls down his bed to reveal Richie and his friends' heads on the posters of Jordan and Rodman. Jesus, every time I see Stevel walk around I need to take a Xanax. Turns out Stevel cut Laura up and placed her in the kitchen cabinets. Then we get some more amazing wordplay.
I'm totally beside myself.
Laura's a nice girl, but she suffers from low self-esteem.
In the center of the kitchen table is a giant jack-in-the-box. Urkel cranks the lever and out pops Harriet's head. Urkel jumps into action and stuffs Stevel into the fridge, but wouldn't you know it, he has the strength of the Incredible Hulk as he bursts through the back of the fridge and the wall behind it. Carl's sitting on the couch and all seems fine with him, until...
Lighten up. Lighten up and...
Go with the flow.
Stevel explains that now that the Winslows are out of the way, him and Urkel can go on the road together as a ventriloquist act. But Urkel has had enough of his bullshit and fights Stevel. pulling him limb from limb. I swear this is a family show. Urkel thinks it's all over, but Stevel begins to put himself back together and just adds to my future nightmares. Stevel attacks Urkel, but this is when Urkel wakes up from his dream. Then Eddie attacks Urkel, but this also turned out to be a dream. I think this may be where Christopher Nolan got the idea for Inception. We get a final shot of the dummy sitting on the chair as it fades out. I was fully expecting it to wink or something at the end, kinda like Michael Jackson at the end of Thriller, but that didn't happen. Missed opportunity. Will we ever see Stevel again? I guess you'll have to wait until next year's Halloween to find out. Next up is Boy Meets World at 8:30, and unfortunately, like I said at the beginning of this video, it isn't a Halloween episode, but we never skip a Boy Meets World episode. So let's get into it.
Why do they call this a hog? Now that's a hog. Or TGIF. Next.
We open with Eric and his dad behind the counter of their store. Eric's mom isn't helping with their sales because her motherly instincts are getting in the way. Oh look, a pumpkin and a ghost, so it is kind of Halloween themed. We see a help wanted sign in the window of the store and Eric is conducting the interviews. Probably not the best person to be doing that, but oh well. All the guys being interviewed look the same. Eric and his dad don't think they'll ever find someone to work there. And then Eric's dad says this.
Yeah, what we need is a Grizzly Adams mountain man who lives the outdoor life, knows this equipment, needs a job, and happens to wander in here.
Cue this guy. If you're a fan of 90s television, you may recognize this guy as the guy who made many appearances on Home Improvement. We see Sean at his trailer with his parents. His father's hiding something in the microwave. It turns out to be bills that have been stacking up. Corey shows up and says he's happy to see Sean's parents back together, but they immediately start fighting and Sean's mom tells his dad that he needs to find a job.
So you gotta do something to show her that you've changed, and that it is gonna be different.
You're talking about me getting a 9-to-5 job.
That would be different.
His dad suggests that he should go pearl diving in Portugal.
You know, I can hold my breath underwater for over 4 minutes.
Well, that should help you when she throws you off the bridge.
Sean says no, he needs a normal 9-to-5 job. Who's parenting who here, am I right? Topanga, Sean, and Corey are at school hanging out. Sean tricks some kids with a milk gag, but look who comes out to clean up the mess.
Chad Hunter, Educational Custodial Services. Normal job for normal people.
Back at the shop, the big bearded guy is crushing it and selling a bunch of merchandise. Although Eric's dad is a bit concerned because he's selling dangerous equipment to people who have no business doing things like rock climbing. Back at school, Sean is upset that his dad is the school janitor. Topanga and Corey try to tell him that it's okay and it's great that he's finally got a job. Then this little prick here starts to make fun of Sean because his dad's the janitor. Throughout the class, the kid keeps sassing Sean and Topanga tries to get Sean to keep his cool.
Ignore him.
But when Sean's dad comes in to hook up the television, the kid pushes Sean too far and he begins to fight him. Sean is sent to the principal's office to see Mr. Feeney. Sean tells Feeney he's upset that he would hire his father. Feeney says he never considered it to be awkward, but if it's upsetting him, he'll replace him, but leaves the decision solely on Sean's shoulders. Classic Feeney life lesson incoming. Later on, when Corey and Sean are eating lunch, Dillhole comes back and starts making fun of Sean again.
When I was with the CIA, I mopped up after the Sandinistas. Think I can mop up this. Janitors are so colorful.
Those are some big words for someone who looks like Stevie Wonder gave them a haircut. Sean immediately tells Feeney he's made his decision and wants his dad gone.
You know, when you think about it, Cor, I'm actually doing my dad a favor. I mean, he needs a job where he can do something important.
Hey, whatever helps you sleep at night, big boy. Back at the shop, the big woodsman comes in to tell Eric and his dad that his mother is taken sick and he has someone in his family that can replace him named Lonnie. Eric's very against this until he sees Lonnie come in.
I'm Lonnie.
Suddenly, Eric is fully on board with Lonnie replacing him. Back at the Hunter residence, Sean comes home and tells his mom what happened at school today. She tells him she doesn't care that he's a janitor and she's proud of him. When his dad comes home, Sean questions him on whether or not he likes being a janitor, and he says this.
What benefits are there to being a janitor?
Well, for one thing, after being on the road a year away from my son, what better benefit than a job that lets me be near him?
Now Sean's feeling some serious guilt. He meets Feeney at school early and asks him not to fire his dad today. Feeney just says, okie dokie, and then drops a Feeneyism on Sean.
I was never going to fire your father in the first place.
Why not?
Because this was never about your father, Sean. This was always about you.
The episode ends with Sean knocking Corey's milk out of his hand, and the bully starts sassing again, despite looking like a Vanilla Ice impersonator. Sean's dad comes out to clean it up. By the way, I love television logic that as soon as something like milk hits the ground, the janitor appears as if he has some sort of janitor Batman signal going off. Anyway, Sean takes the mop from his father and says this.
You don't have to do that, Sean.
I know I don't. And I know you don't either.
I enjoyed revisiting this episode. It was nice to see Sean, who's always been a bit embarrassed of his father and living situations, sort of stand up for him, especially knowing how his father's story arc turns out in the future. I'm trying to be spoiler free, even though the show is over 2 decades old. Next up at 9:30 is Sabrina, who never misses an opportunity for a Halloween themed episode. Let's get into this episode called A Halloween Story.
He could be boyfriend material.
Hey, baby.
Oh, let's get out of here.
Sabrina the Teenage Witch at her new time is next.
The episode begins with Hilda and Zelda preparing for Halloween. In the witching world, Halloween is basically their Christmas. Sabrina comes in, but she doesn't seem to be in the Halloween spirit. Sabrina's aunts ask her where her costume is, and she explains that she's going as Sally Jesse Raphael. Her aunts do her one better and turn her into Sally Jesse Raphael.
Next up, we are going to talk to a teenage witch and her aunts who take things too far.
At school, Harvey invites Sabrina to his Halloween party. He asks her if she can come early and help set things up. Sabrina explains she can't come early because her aunts take Halloween very seriously, and they already have plans. Libby the teenage bitch swoops in and offers to help Harvey set up. Sabrina asks her aunts if she can go to the party, but they refuse because, like I said, Halloween is their Christmas, so it's meant to be spent with family. Sabrina pouts her way into her bedroom, but Salem says he may have an idea for Sabrina to go to the party. He tells her that in her spell book there's a spell that can make a double that looks just like herself.
Step aside.
Wow! Amazing!
Salem explains that her double can only learn 3 phrases, and Sabrina decides on these 3.
So let's start with, I'd love to. I'd love to. That is so true. That is so true. Mr. Poole can be so annoying. Mr. Poole can be so annoying.
She puts her double into a classic witch costume and sends her into the party, but tells her to make sure Libby and Harvey are never alone together. One thing I noticed about these early episodes of Sabrina is that the Salem puppet looks awful. Thankfully they improve on that later on. Before leaving, Hilda comes in and only speaks in 3 different phrases. Zelda figures out immediately that she's doing the same double spell that Sabrina did earlier because Hilda wants to get out of going to this family gathering as well. She merges back into herself and they head into the closet and travel to the family party. They run into this woman. She's related to them somehow. I don't think she's their other sister, maybe a cousin? Anyway, she starts sassing Zelda and Hilda for not being married or having kids yet. Salem is forced to sit at a table with another talking cat named Lady, while Sabrina is forced to sit at the kids' table with her cousin, who turns out to be a spoiled little brat.
Don't you walk away from me. I want to braid your hair.
The redhead continues to sass the aunts about not being married yet, and the bratty cousin puts Sabrina into a jar. Back at Harvey's party, the Sabrina double is sticking to Libby like glue, but Libby starts to like this version of Sabrina. Libby tells her that this party's getting kinda lame, and then comes up with the idea that someone should streak, to which imposter Sabrina responds with,
I'd love to. You'd streak? I'd love to.
Harvey finds out and tries to talk fake Sabrina out of it, but it's like talking to a brick wall. Back at the family party, it's time to open Halloween presents. The spoiled brat gets a solid gold dolly, but Sabrina's aunts give her something much better.
It's a gift certificate to spend half an hour with the deceased of your choice? What's this?
Because Harvey was going to the party dressed as James Dean, Sabrina figured why not meet the real James Dean, but then decides to write a different name. Her aunts leave the room and in walks Sabrina's dead grandmother. She tells her grandmother all about school and Harvey and then confesses to her that she's a witch. I figured everyone in her family knew about this, but I guess not. Her grandma takes the news pretty well.
Well, dear, as long as you're happy.
The redhead keeps talking about her husband Harold and the great life they have together, but when she leaves, Salem comes over and tells them that Lady's drunk on catnip and blurted out that Harold and the redhead are getting a divorce. As they leave the party, they tell Marigold, yeah, I finally figured out her name even though we're near the end of the episode. They tell Marigold that they know about the divorce and then say all the same things back to her that she said to them earlier.
Oh, Hilda, we've made her cry.
Oh, how awful we must feel. Let's go.
Oh, and the little brat gets what's coming to her as well.
But I want it now.
I think somebody needs a time out.
Sabrina's chilling in her room when Salem reminds her about her double, and you should never leave a double on their own for too long. Sabrina arrives at the party just in time to see her double streak. But when Harvey sees her inside, though, he automatically assumes it must have been Libby who streaked.
Hey everybody, that was Libby streaking!
Sabrina goes outside to reconnect with herself, like literally, not in some philosophical way or anything like that. The episode ends with Sabrina sitting in a chair and telling us all about the importance of family and Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Now on to the final show of tonight's TGIF lineup, and that show is Clueless. Now I've never seen the film Clueless, but I'll get to it eventually. I also have never seen the show, nor did I know there was a show until like 2 weeks ago. I'm gonna watch this blindly and forgive me for not knowing all the characters' names. Let's watch Clueless at 9:30 p.m. to finish off the TGIF watch party.
Hey, there's Sheriff Clueless. I think I'll surprise her with a makeover. She look great in pink.
That was way supportive.
Sorry, I was wrong. Pink's not your color. Clueless is next.
The episode begins with Cher and Dee walking out of school. That's right, I got their names right. Impressed so far? Dee says she can't hang out this weekend because her man needs her. Plus she's booked solid with midterms, but reminds her they can hang out tomorrow at Louie's party. These two say the parties suck, and I guess it does? I don't know, I can't really tell. I wasn't invited to a lot of high school parties. Oh look, it's a Halloween party! Nice, we're sticking to this video's theme. Dee gets upset with her boyfriend, who is Turk from Scrubs, because he's dancing with another girl. The two begin fighting, but they make up pretty quick. Oh, I forgot to mention, Cher does a voiceover through this entire show, which I'm assuming she does in the film as well. It's weird how some of the actors are from the film and then some aren't. Alicia Silverstone seems like a huge loss for the cast, but oh well. Anyway, in the voiceover she says that Dee and Turk's fight saved the party. Not sure how that did it, but okay. Cher is talking to who I assume is her stepbrother, and who I also assume is the replacement for Paul Rudd in this show. Anyway, he says he's speaking to her social studies class today, and Cher is quite upset about it. At this point in my notes I wrote down, I'm not enjoying this. But let's continue on. Cher tells this girl that Dee and Turk's fights are always harmless until Turk brings up the size of her ass. Surely this isn't setting anything up. Dee sits down and says she had a great weekend with Turk and she plans on entering him into some boyfriend competition in Sass magazine. Naturally. Turk shows up to school strutting because he just got his braces off. He runs into Dee while talking to 4 girls. Dee gets upset and guess what? They fight again. This is the kind of toxic relationship 90s teens strive for. So during the fight, Turk says this.
The fact that you inherited your mother's buttocks.
It's funny to look back at this as being an insult when today if she had a big butt she'd probably just be shaking it on TikTok. In Cher's voiceover she says that they broke up. So sad. We see Cher's brother talking to her class and everyone's bored out of their mind. Then the redhead stands up and says this.
You made me think that maybe I should be a lawyer.
Really?
Psych! So boring. Somebody call the loser police.
Cher says that he gave a lame performance, but how could she possibly be thinking of herself when Dee is so sad? Please kill me. Then we get a montage of Dee being sad. Cher decides she needs to be the one to bring them back together. I mean, she is the one with an inner monologue after all, so it makes sense that she's a narcissist. Cher asks Turk to apologize, but he's all like, hell nah, and he wants to be appreciated more. He says this while wearing a bucket hat.
As if.
Oh look, she did it! She said the thing! That's the thing from the movie! Sorry, I got a little excited. Back at home, the stepbrother's telling Cher he wants another chance to talk to the class. Although I'm not sure why he's telling her. I don't think she's in charge of that sort of thing. Cher decides she's going to enter Turk into the boyfriend contest and write the entry as if she was Dee.
I love my guy Murray because he's so many things to me. He's smart, he's funny, and he's got cuts so well defined they could be in the dictionary.
We skip ahead and Turk is already in the next issue of Sass magazine. I wonder what they write about in Sass magazine. Is everything just written sarcastically? I wonder if that's ever been done before. Nobody steal that idea, it's mine. Anyway, everyone in class is making fun of Turk because in the magazine it mentions that he isn't afraid to cry in front of Dee. Then get a load of this, Wallace Shawn's in the show. To go from Princess Pride to this? Ugh, poor guy.
Inconceivable!
Turk shows up and everyone starts laughing and sassing him about crying. Maybe that's why it's called Sass magazine. Wallace Shawn defends guys crying and this redhead bitch says this.
So much like your brother.
There was a trend tonight of redheads being bitchy. Turk doesn't know why everyone's laughing at him, and then he finds out, and then Dee finds out, and then Cher admits to what she did. Then Dee and Turk get up and leave class, which is just something you could do in high school back in the 90s, I guess. Cher is talking to her friend, and when she sees Plaid and Floral together, it gives her an idea to get Dee and Turk back together. I don't know. Let's just move on. Dee and Turk get up in class to debate which language should be the international language, French or English. This goes on for quite a while of them fighting again, and then it ends with them making up. Hooray! Cher did it somehow. The entire class claps and this dude starts crying. At the end, the redhead shows up with spilled coffee on her shirt, making fun of Cher's brother again. But this time, Cher defends her brother. I'm sorry, but this is their friend? Why is she always being a bitch to them? Yet she's always hanging around with them. The stepbrother hears Cher defending him and comes over and they have a moment. Then they go home and she gets stuck in the washing machine and is like, "Help, stepbrother, I'm stuck," or maybe I saw that somewhere else. How did this show get 62 episodes? I just don't see the appeal, but I guess it's from a different time and I don't know, some people may have enjoyed it. It just wasn't for me. Well, there you have it, another spooky TGIF in the books. Did you have a little bit of a fright? Maybe a little bit of a spook? I personally like this lineup of shows. I know I ragged on Clueless, and rightfully so, but it looks like The Sopranos in comparison to Aliens in the Family. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. If you were a fan of Clueless the show, feel free to tell me how much of an idiot I am in the comments section below. Until next time, happy Halloween everyone!